Legend of Total War here, and today I'll be putting on a tinfoil hat and doing some predictions about the pre-order bonus for Game 3. We know it's going to be a race pack, and if I'm right about my prediction here, I think we should all be pretty excited about it, because there's a lot of evidence pointing towards it being a particular race and being done in a particular way, and if it is done that way, it's very good for us. Lots of content, basically. So, I'm so confident that I'm right about this that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to donate $500 to a charity that I'll allow you guys to choose. So, post a comment down below with a charity that you think deserves the $500, and the most upvotes on that particular charity is the one that I'll donate to, if I'm wrong about this prediction. But then again, I'll also donate $500 even if I'm right. So I'll donate $500 one way or another. The only difference is that if I'm right about this, you have to hit that subscribe button, okay? So if you want to participate and you haven't yet subscribed already, and I'm right, I'm not just right about the race pack, but right about the details to this race pack, okay? The details are important as well. Like, for example, if it is confirmed that it is the Chaos Dwarfs, which is what I'm predicting for the race pack, but I get all the details wrong, then you don't have to subscribe. But otherwise, you absolutely do. But if I'm wrong, you can ridicule me and make fun of me all you like, and that could be the butt of as many jokes as you like. And I still have to donate $500 to the charity one way or another, okay? So, let's start talking about the details as to why I believe all the evidence points towards this, and that CA have basically been dropping hints for years that this is going to be the case. So not only do I think that the Chaos Dwarfs are going to be the 7th playable race for the Warhammer 3 campaign, but I also think that they will be made available to people who own Warhammer 1 and 2, and will be available to play the Chaos Dwarfs before Warhammer 3 even comes out. And that even though Creative Assembly have said there will be no more race packs for Game 2, I believe if you look between the lines, it's not really a DLC for Game 2. They're being a bit sneaky with that, but you'll be able to play it still for Warhammer 2. That's what I think. So what I think is going to happen, if you pre-purchase Warhammer 3, somewhere down the line, the Chaos Dwarves will release for Warhammer 2, and their start position will be somewhere in here. So let's start talking into details about why I think that. Right, so let's firstly start with the production cycle of Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2. So with Warhammer 1, when it was first announced, the pre-order race pack was the Chaos Dwarves, just the Warriors of Chaos. And that was not very well received because the Warriors of Chaos came out at the exact same time as the base game. When you pre-ordered Warhammer Total War, you didn't get anything early. There was no reason to pre-order it until a day before. There was just no incentive to do so. And it also felt like cut content. That didn't go over well with Creative Assembly. They got a lot of negative feedback about that. In fact, if you go to the trailer for the Warriors of Chaos, it's possibly one of the most disliked videos that Total War's ever released. It wasn't well received. And CA, basically, they don't like doing that kind of stuff. They don't like getting negative feedback. They want to avoid negative feedback, PR. We all do. But then in Warhammer 2, they did something similar, but different, and it was very well received, in my opinion. Its execution wasn't perfect, but the thought behind it was really good. What they did was, you pre-order Warhammer 2, and then before Warhammer 2 releases, you got to play Norsca in Warhammer 1. Now, Norsca wasn't available in Warhammer 2's Vortex campaign, as in Throg and Wulfric, to play in the race for the Vortex, but they were made available later down the track on Mortal Empires. So you pre-purchase a game, and then you get something to play with before the game comes out. Since that worked so well, you can assume that they would want to do the same thing for Game 3. Now, looking at the map here of Mortal Empires, it's been designed, it's pretty compact. There's not a lot of empty space in here, right? So if we look at Albion as an example as to what they've done in the past, it can really give you a hint as to what they're going to do in the future. Now, I've loaded up an old save file here. You're probably looking at this being like, why is Albion blank? This campaign I started about 3 years ago, but I never deleted this save file because it was a This Is Total War campaign as the Last Defenders, where I did a full map completion. And so I never deleted the save file. But when I load up the save file this day with all the patches that are now applied, it doesn't add the settlements that have been added since, but it does add the graphics of the new changes to the map. Now, when the game first came out, Mortal Empires that is, Albion here was just a tiny little island and it didn't have a settlement in there. Then they added an update shortly after I started this campaign where it added a settlement just called Albion, okay? Then, a few months down the track, they expanded Albion into looking exactly like this, excuse me, and added a couple more settlements to the province, and then they changed the names as well. There's no longer a settlement here just called Albion. And then, a few months after that, Nakai the Wanderer starts his campaign of Mortal Empires here. So they didn't just do it overnight right before Nakai the Wanderer shows up. They did it gradually ready to make room for him. Now, they've done stuff like that before as well. If we have a look at look at Nehekara, for example, Khemri was in the campaign at the start, even before the Tomb Kings were there. Same thing with the Black Pyramid of Nagash. However, it just looked like a vampire settlement. But when the Tomb King DLC dropped, bang, they just got their settlements and changed the graphics to look like Tomb King settlements. If we have a look at other settlements that are in the map now, but weren't in the map years ago, Sudenburg is no longer there. The Bowmen of Orion, not there. Forest of Gloom up here, not there. I mean, that was added very recently. Mordheim, not there. Morgheim, even though the graphics for it is there and it looks like a big old swamp, these settlements themselves are not there. In fact, Spectre Zuma over here, it used to be there, and then there's now a new settlement here. There's, I forget the name of the settlement that's here, the Wood Elf one. It's not here, obviously, because it was just added. The Witchwood is not there. And so on and so forth. If you go around the map, there's plenty of settlements that haven't been added. Massive Orcal, which was added a little while before Grom the Paunch would start his campaign there. You know, if you play as Grom the Paunch. If we have a look over here, we've got settlements in Yvres that haven't been added. Now, where is the area of the map that has had the most amount of settlements added, but kind of the least number of actual legendary lords been placed there? Well, that would be the Darklands. So if we have a look over here, this graphics of the map here with the Dragon Isles, that was added after this campaign started. So the graphics are here, but if I was to travel, I couldn't travel over here when the campaign was going because the coastal areas were added later. This all used to just be cliffs. But even if I was to go over here now, the settlements themselves wouldn't be there. The Dragon Isles just aren't there. Malice doesn't exist in this campaign. Nagashazar doesn't exist. The Flayed Rock doesn't exist. These settlements over here don't exist. You know, Clan Rictus Nest, not there. The Desolation of Drakenmoor doesn't exist. Silver Pinnacle doesn't exist. Now, the Silver Pinnacle really gives us indication that Neferata is probably coming, possibly, in the next Lord Pack for Warhammer 2. We know that there's another Lord Pack coming, and that's probably going to be announced in the next, say, 4 or 5 months. And it's possibly going to add her as either an FLC or maybe she'll be a DLC Lord. Don't know. But they usually add these settlements in before the Legendary Lord that's going to inhabit it. Now, another thing is that what the hell is all this land out here doing? It's such a huge gap in the map. They could have very easily just omitted it. I mean, they don't add further north, even though there is more territory north of here, like the polar gap, polar gates or whatever, are further north here, but you can't actually go and look at it. But the Darklands are here. Zar-Nagrand, if we were to have a look in the map, which is the capital of where the Chaos Dwarves are supposed to be, should be pretty much smack bang right here. And all this area here is empty. And these mountains and stuff here, they graphically didn't used to be there. And slowly, the map is starting to fill out. Now, in addition to that, if we have a look as to why the Chaos Dwarves would be the best fit for it, if the Chaos Dwarves are a pre-order race for Warhammer 3 that's playable in Warhammer 2, anybody that pre-orders Warhammer 3 but has not yet purchased Warhammer 1 and 2 will be incentivized to go and do so. Now, of course, most people who have probably pre-ordered Warhammer 3 probably either order Warhammer 1 and or Warhammer 2. And I did a poll about an hour ago just to test people to see exactly where where people purchased. Now, most people own 1 and or 2, and plan to at least, buy number 3. But there certainly are a lot of people that have only one of the games. By making the Chaos Dwarfs an incentive, if you own all 3 games, gives people basically gives a reason to drop those percentages down to as close to 0 as possible, while also being extremely positive received, being available in the game for Game 3, and being available for us to play earlier than Warhammer 3 will be announced. So I hear a lot of people on the Reddit, like they're sort of like, not necessarily whining, but sad that the Chaos Dwarves, you know, where's my Hashut? I feel so bad, I'm not going to get Hashut. Man, if I'm right about this, you should actually be really happy, because we're going to be able to play with Hashut sooner than you'll be able to play with Chaos Demons or Kislev. Now, the funny thing is with that, and this is probably the biggest argument against my my prediction here, is that Kislev is also currently in the game. So they could potentially make it that if you pre-order Warhammer 3, and maybe they'll even make Kislev playable in Warhammer 2. So maybe it won't actually be the Chaos Dwarves, it'll be something to do with Kislev. Maybe, who knows? But I'm not entirely certain. However, there is this huge gap in the map that doesn't exist anywhere else in Mortal Empires. Everywhere else is pretty much filled out. They really tried to push the continents in as close together as possible, and there's just so little empty space. Even the Chaos Waste is just a tiny, tiny little area, but here's this huge chunk of area that's just completely empty. So that's why I think it's going to be Chaos Dwarfs. So anyway, in summary, I think it's going to be Chaos Dwarfs with the pre-order race for Game 3, and I think it'll be available for people who own Game 1 and 2 as well, and will be able to play it early. And if I'm right or wrong about it, I'll donate $500 to a charity that you guys can decide on by posting a comment down below on the charity that you think deserves my money. And just, if you see the charity that you want to support, just give that one an upvote, so that it's not just a billion comments just saying the same thing. Okay, so let me know in the comments below as well whether you agree or disagree, or whether you think I'm just being completely weird and stupid about this, or whether you think that the Ogre Kingdoms would make more sense. And don't forget to give some reasoning why, about what you think will be the pre-order race pack for Game 3. But I'm pretty confident that I'm right, but I really want to hear your thoughts on all this. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I think I've rambled on long enough. I look forward to seeing your comments, and don't forget to subscribe if I'm right, okay? Anyway, I'll see you next time, fuckers. Appreciate you. Bye.